Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to another episode of In Depth with David. This is the ninth Bruins recap that we are going to be doing. We are going to be recapping today Bruins versus Islanders, Game 5. And once again, to help me recap this one, it's going to be a tough one to recap. I'm joined by my cousin Bryan. How are you doing, Bryan? That might be a loaded question, but how are you holding up right now?
Not great. Not great. I mean, this game we had, we definitely should have won last night. The way we played and we lost, it wasn't a good result, and yeah, it's taking a toll on the both of us today, and it's too bad. But hopefully we bounce back, or not even bounce back. Hopefully, we put up the same effort in Game 6 and just get a better result.
I mean, we're taking it pretty hard. It's like causing some sort of crises with both of us because you went out and got a haircut, and I went out and actually tried to, put on some clothes and make myself look better in front of the camera. But
it's changed. Yeah. It's changed us.
Islanders, Barry Trotz has gone into our heads, and it's just unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, before we get into this game, is there any like general takeaways you want to put out there before?
General takeaways. I mean, we gave it everything we did. We had last night, everything, and we just fell short, and it's too bad. But we just gotta keep working hard. Game 6, and hopefully the result's different. But we really can't complain with the way we played, aside from the penalties.
Yeah, I mean, I think statistically, if any nerd were to look at this game, they'd think we would have blown out the Islanders, and that's what everyone thought the case was. But that wasn't how this game turned out to be. Just a tough pill to swallow, and as you said, the penalties came back to haunt us, and just
if only they listened to In Depth with David, they would know. It's been a problem all playoffs.
Right. I mean, I hate that we're right in the sense that we called from the beginning of the Cap series that the discipline was going to be a problem, and we can't keep taking the bait. The refs aren't our friends, and this just really screwed us in this game, which we'll get into.
Yeah, for sure. And you can argue, I would argue personally that maybe like 2 of the calls, were iffy. But other than that, the over the glass and Wagner punching whoever that was on the Islanders in the head for no reason, just in the middle of play. Those are 2 penalties that are avoidable and we shouldn't have taken, and they cost us.
It's making Marchand look like an angel lately with all the dumb penalties everyone else is taking. But let's get into this game. We're going to start off on a happy note, as less than 90 seconds in, pasta is on the menu. So we have some vintage rigatoni making up for his mistake in Game 4. Bergeron, who was on the right side, got it to Pasta. So Pasta shot it from the right side. It was initially saved by Varlamov, but the puck bounced high in the air. Marchand made a nice play in the backboards to keep it in the zone. The puck found McAvoy, who got to Pasta from just outside the left faceoff circle. And it was a one-timer, and it scored. So Bruins, just like that, go up 1-0.
Yep, but I don't remember if the Marchand missed chance was before the goal or after, but
it was after it, yeah.
Okay. But Marchand, yeah, he looked good on that, and Pasta has such a dangerous shot anywhere on the ice, and it's nice when those go in for him because, you just love to see it. Pasta's on the menu early. We were rolling.
And a lot of people talk about like goals right in front of the net off like rebounds being layup goals. And I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but when I see Pasta wind up for those one-timers, it almost feels like a layup goal for him, and that's just going to go in.
I mean, yeah, there are players like that, like, him, Ovechkin. There are others, but, you don't have to be right up close to the goal if you're as gifted as he is.
Right. And it was just good for him to get some redemption because obviously I hate putting out bad mojo this early in the podcast, but we all know what happened in Game 4. He missed the wide open net. So it's just good for him to score the first goal, which is great. I think we both called Pasta being on the menu in this game too, which is nice.
In fact, we did.
It's
but we also called Bruins win, so.
Anywho, God, this is going to be tough to get through because from here, kind of goes downhill a bit. But Marchand found McAvoy streaking to the net from the right side, and Charlie had a shot, but it was saved by the shoulder of Varlamov. Then after that, Clifton had a shot denied by Varlamov, and it was a juicy rebound for Coyle, but Coyle just whiffed it high. And then we get into the opportunity you were just talking about a few seconds ago with Marchand. Do you want to explain how Marchand botched this opportunity here?
So I was it a rebound or a pass to him initially that he just whiffed on? And
I just
know that he had the open net and he whiffed. And then, he looked like he was going to recover it, and he did. He had the puck on his stick and was at the goal line, and he had an opportunity to just tuck the puck right into the net, and somehow it slipped under his stick or something and went just right across the goal line and out. And being up 2-0 at that point would have been huge because we were playing like we should have been up 2-0, and to only be up 1-0 was I don't know, unfortunate because of the way we played. We should have been up by at least 2. So it was tough not to get rewarded on that one.
It's just getting comical with all the missed empty netters at this point. As you said, Marchand botched the open net. Not once, but twice. He had a tough time with it on the first attempt. I don't know if it was a stick problem or whatever. But then, as you said, on the second attempt, it would have just been so easy for him to tuck it in. But instead of him trying to put the puck in the net, it just kept on rolling parallel with the red line. And we blow it. Again, this is the second straight game where we blew an open net opportunity. And it should have been 2-0 at this point, as you said. And you got to feel like this was a momentum switch for sure.
Yeah, those are series-changing, game-changing, whatever, just series-changing bounces and missed opportunities that have come back to haunt us.
And the most frustrating part about this stuff, too, is we said this right before we went live, is it's so easy to just embrace the meme as a Bruins fan. Like, they missed all these open nets. We'll get them next time. It's just funny. But these open nets in these last couple games that we're missing, they're screwing us in these games. Because if Pasta gets set in game 4, you don't know how the rest of the game is going to turn out from that point. And then Marchand does this in game 5. We're up 2-0, and that puts the pressure on the Islanders, especially when we're playing at home.
Yeah, and if the rest of the game goes exactly the same way, we're at least going to overtime with a tied game 5-5. So it's just too bad because we really deserved the win last night, the way we played, but it didn't happen.
I think a drill that they should run in practice is to bring both of the empty nets to the middle of the ice, and then you take a timer and give every player 60 seconds to hit as many empty netters as they can. They'll probably still miss some.
I'm on board. It's a good call.
Bruce, if you're listening to us, we have one viewer right now, so if that's Bruce and you're listening to us, I know it's probably one of our buddies.
No, it's Bruce.
It is Bruce. We'll go with Bruce. And Bruce just left, but we're back down to 0. Yeah, so Bruce, if you heard that snippet for a little bit, take into consideration what we're talking about. But after that blown opportunity, Sean Corelli slashes Dobson, a name I've not heard for the Islanders yet, but he draws a penalty and the Islanders get a power play out of it.
I mean, in my opinion, that was a weak call. I don't think that should have been called. It was a love tap. I mean,
can you explain it? Because I missed this one because I was at work to everyone watching. I missed most of the first period, but I was able to watch the highlights of it, and I caught the last 2. But can you explain how weak of a call that was?
Yeah,
they were kind of talking about that on the radio.
Dobson had the puck, and he was going for a shot, and Corrali just had his stick in the general area of like by his hands, but not like, I don't even know how much contact there really was there. Probably like just the slightest bit. He didn't jab him hard or anything like that. It was just a little tap around like that area, and usually that'll get called if it's like a breakaway or something like that. But I really never see something that weak get called on just a random shot. So, I mean, in my opinion, it was a really weak call, and it shouldn't have been called. But if that's how the refs are going to call the game, and they're going to call weak little slashes like that, they're going to do it the whole game. And I don't think they did that, because they would have called a lot more penalties if they had.
Do you blame Corrali for even trying to do something like that, or is it more so he just got hosed by the refs being soft?
No, I don't really. It honestly probably had no effect on Dobson's shot, and it was just a soft call, and I was shocked to see it called.
So nonetheless, the Islanders do get a power play out of it. Dobson, the man who drew the power play opportunity for the Islanders, found Barzal on the right side. Barzal has the puck on his stick, and the Bruins let him dance around with it a bit as he's able to skate in a lot closer from the right side, and his shot from the right faceoff circle goes top shelved through Rask, pretty much by Rask's ear, and just like that, right before the period ends, it's 1-1. And what angered me most about this goal is, bad discipline again by the Bruins. I mean, we got screwed by a bad penalty, but you don't want to spend time in the box regardless. And also the fact that it was right before the period ended. But
that is killer.
We let Barzal skate around so much on that play. I get you're shorthanded, but you got to close in on him on that play. I mean, I don't know how he has that much free ground just to skate and close in.
And any fan, anyone like familiar with hockey at all will tell you the one guy on the Islanders you don't want to give time and space is Barzal, and that's what we did, and we paid for it.
I don't know who could have skated over him, but you got to put some pressure on him. He just skated in for a free ride, and he got the shot he wanted in. I mean, some people are going to say Tuukka could have made a play on it. Maybe he could have. This is maybe one of the ones we could have gone back from him, but it all starts with Barzal on that play, and as he's done all series, it's just you give him the puck and he does great things.
I mean, regardless with whether or not Rask could have had that, it's probably the case for a lot of the goals this game. I mean, it's a shot from a dangerous area where it was pretty uncontested. So, Rask would have had to make a big save if he got it, but so you can't entirely blame him, but it's one he could have had, but not necessarily one he's going to have every time just because of the quality of shot it was. And like I said, I think that was a theme throughout this game.
So after the first period, the shots on goal would be 11-7 in favor of the Bruins. But as we've been saying, it feels like we could have been up, 3-0, 2-0. And that's just how the vibe of the first period was. And it was very disappointing, really, to only be up 1-0. But then when it was 1-1, that really just took the air out of everything.
You couldn't ask for a better played period. That is exactly what we wanted. You couldn't ask for anything to improve aside from maybe that penalty. But just to come out of a period like that, we played so well, tied was, you could just tell at that point that things weren't looking too good. But we played two more great periods, so it wasn't all bad. But it was just too bad we came out of that one tied. We really shouldn't have.
And in the second period, Grzelcyk cross-checked Komarov, so there's another Islanders power play. And on the second Islanders power play, they get their second power play goal. Nick Leddy gets it to Bailey on the right side, and his cross-ice pass goes off Clifton's skates in front. It finds Palmieri on the left, who is in front of the net all alone, and he puts it past Rask to make it 2-1 Islanders. So just the theme of the series, another unlucky bounce to the Bruins off both of Clifton's skates. Another thing for me on this play is I feel like we gave Leddy or Bailey. We gave him maybe a little bit too much more room to skate around, and McAvoy could have probably challenged him. That's a tough play, though, on the PK, because then if McAvoy skates over, he had both Nelson and Palmieri in the front. So it was just kind of a tough situation to be in. But this is one where I think McAvoy, or he did skate over too soon, and I feel like he could have laid off a bit because that left two people wide open in the net, which it was really a lose-lose scenario, but, just unlucky.
I mean, I don't want to just complain about the officiating the whole time, but I think these first two calls, so the first one, the slash on Corrali, was a little weak, and then this one, I'm not going to deny it was definitely a cross-check, and that's a penalty, but earlier in the game, an Islanders player did the exact same thing to a Bruins player, and there was no call. So if you're going to – that's the standard was set in the first period. We're not calling those cross-checks. And the announcers even said it on NBC. They said – right when that in the first period, right when the Islanders player cross-checked the Bruins player and he fell, they went, well, I guess that the standard's been set for those kind of penalties, and we look for the refs not to call them. And then in the second period, they did just that, and it cost us. I mean, it is definitely a cross-check, but the standard was set, and they just shouldn't have called it, in my opinion, but they did.
It's just ridiculous, Like you said, I think you texted this to me too. We just want consistency with the calls. And when you don't get that, it's just annoying. And it really does mess with the game. After that, right after they score and make it 2-1, the Islanders had a failed 2-on-1 opportunity, but Nelson created a turnover after Tenorti couldn't clear the puck out. Gets it to Palmieri, who is all the way in front alone. He throws a wrister, but Rask makes the save, keeps it a 2-1 game. This was a huge save by Tuukka. He didn't make too many of these saves last night, but this was a clutch save to keep us in this game.
Yeah, going down 3-1 at that point would have been crushing. But, we have a lot of heart, so it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But good thing he was there to make the big save.
And then after that, McAvoy creates a turnover after rejecting a cross-ice pass. He gets it to Pasta, who was near the Bruins bench. Pasta finds Marchand, who was streaking through the middle. Marchand does a phenomenal job of doing a toe drag of sorts. He keeps the puck on his stick, swerves around Varlamov and Ryan Pulak, and pushes it in past Varlamov's right pad. Just a highlight reel goal. Bruins tie at 2-2. I mean, This was a thing of beauty.
It was, and deep down, I thought when he had the open net again, once he got around Varlamov, I thought he was gonna miss again, but he put it in, and it was an awesome goal. It was the energy in the building was crazy. The energy in my living room was crazy. 2-2 after we battled. We deserved that 2-2 game. The Islanders were lucky to be in a tie game at that point. So,
I mean, and you could tell. Right, and you could tell something great was going to happen as that play was developing because Marchand was just making some great dekes, and then he put it past his pad, and then you just saw the whole building erupt. I mean, I didn't want to scream because I didn't want to wake anyone else up in my house, but I just put my hands up, and I'm like, oh my God. I don't blame you. Yeah, I mean, what a great goal. Marshy March and the Funky Bunch just continuing a great playoff run. Makes it 2-2. And I said right after this, obviously, it wasn't really the same style of goal, but this reminded me of the 2011 Cup Finals when Marchand, I think, scored a shorthanded goal on Luongo, and he deked him out and put it top shelved and got Luongo on the ground looking like an idiot. This was a highlight reel goal just like that, and he did it against Ryan Pulock too, who's a really good defenseman from what I heard.
Yeah, he shut down, and it's so nice because everyone knows Marchand for. Everyone outside of Boston just knows him as being like a dirty player or whatever.
Little ball of hate.
You got to appreciate plays like that no matter what your opinion is on the guy. So it was good to see.
And then after that, the Bruins get into a little bit of a groove on offense as McAvoy has a one-timer that got stopped, but his rebound on his shot gets to Bergeron on the right side, but Varlamov makes another clutch save. Krejci sets up Hall for a one-timer in a different sequence, but Varlamov makes a save. He was good in net this game. I'm not going to lie. He made 40 saves. Yes, he gave up 4 goals, but I mean, he's just been a staple in net for the Islanders since they made that switch.
Yeah, honestly, I would have given him the first, second, and third stars this game. I mean, we absolutely laid it on him. We had so many great chances, and he had no problem turning most of them aside. So I don't know. Good move by the Islanders going to Varlamov in game 2 and getting away from Sorokin.
And this is just what makes this loss so much more crushing, too, is because obviously we'll talk about the final shot on goal tally, but the Bruins were getting good chances after tying at 2-2, and they were even out shooting the Islanders 24-13 at one point in the middle of the game. And
I mean, that just reflects the dominant effort. It was all game. We were laying it on, and we just the penalty killed. I know. Even if the refs screw you for some calls, you need your guys to kill the penalty.
Right.
And it just didn't happen last night. And yeah, a lot of that does come down to who we're missing, with Kevin Miller and Carlo being 2 big defensive bodies with long reaches. But either way, you can't let the other team, score on every power play they get. That's how you lose.
And then in the Bruins end, in the next sequence, Beauvillier skates behind the net to the right of Rask. He does a spinorama pass to find Peugeot in front of the net on the left side. Peugeot finds Bailey in front, who gets it past Rask to make it 3-2 Islanders. They take the lead. And this one, there was smoke come out of my ears at this point because Beauvillier gets the puck. We let him do whatever he wants. It's fine that Wagner switched on to him after Riley didn't want to keep him, but this one's on Riley because he fell asleep on the play. He didn't keep up with Bailey, who eventually scored. He just stood there and waited for everything to happen. And then once Bailey got the puck after Peugeot passed it to him, he's like, oh, God, he's probably going to score. I should skate over. Too late.
Yep. And I mean,
just inexcusable.
It's another good chance, too. I mean, that's what it's tough because we're giving up some really good chances, and you can't rely on the goalie to stop all of them. And I mean, he didn't stop many of them last night, but still, it's a good chance and one that should have been smoked out earlier.
This is probably the goal that made me the most mad, and I'm going to try not to rage too much, but Beauvillier, you just let him take the puck behind the net and skate around and do whatever he wants, and he does a YOLO pass where he spins around and just throws it towards the net. It gets through, and Riley, who, stayed back after Wagner switched on to Beauvillier, just fell asleep and let the whole thing happen, and if he just stayed with this guy, this wouldn't have even been a thought. I mean, maybe they still get the passes through, but you're in a better position to stop it.
It's just all that's made so much worse by the fact that they're lucky to even be tied at that point. And now they're going ahead and now they have the lead. We just couldn't do any, it was just so infuriating to watch last night.
I mean, and they did a great job on this play. This play just
Yeah, that
signifies the Bruins' weaknesses. Right. No, it was nothing to take away from the Islanders. It was a great play. They're taking advantage of our weaknesses in the sense that, is it fair to say, I think we can both agree on this, that if Carlo is out there instead of Riley, that play doesn't happen?
Yeah, both Carlo and Miller are probably our two most like shut down guys. You could maybe throw McAvoy into that discussion too, but if we're talking strictly defense, those are our two guys that we have, that fill that role of just shut down D-men, and it hurts not having them because even though the Islanders didn't generate many chances last night, the ones that they were able to generate were high quality because we didn't have those shut down guys in our lineup.
And then the other weakness that the Islanders are exposing is taking the puck to right in front of the net against Rask, because Rask, as much as we love him and as much as it's hard to blame him on this, but most of the goals in the series for the Islanders, as we said, have come from right in front of the net. So they're exposing a weakness of Rask in the sense that he has a tough time playing pucks in front of the net, and boom, you get another goal and you take the lead.
I mean, that's just true. Like most goalies, if you have the puck right in front of them and they have they have all the power in that situation. They can pick any corner or whatever. So, I mean, Rask definitely could make a few more saves, but it comes down to the defense, letting them get, their shots off in prime places on the ice. But, I mean, yeah, you do look for Rask to make a few big saves, and he didn't necessarily do that last night.
And I think it has to do in part with whatever his injuries are that he's dealing with, and we don't know. I think he looks fine when they throw wristers on him. He can make those saves, but once they get it to him in front of the net, it looks like he's a little bit more handicapped in terms of trying to move around. I mean, no one knows the full story with that. It's smart of the Bruins not to disclose what injury he's dealing with, because if you're the Islanders, you got Barry Trotz looking at the internet. Oh, guys, he's dealing with a leg injury. Let's try to get it high on him. I mean, smart by the Bruins, but you can tell Rask is really struggling at times with goaltending with whatever injuries he's dealing with.
Yeah, for sure. And then, did you see that? Barry Trotz said Bergeron cheats on faceoffs.
We're gonna talk about that at the end. I want to.
Okay.
We'll go over that. It's been kind of tense between the two teams. It's kind of heating up a bit.
Good.
They're taking shots at each other. I don't mind it. Then after that, the Islanders retake the lead 3-2. Then Chris Wagner commits a high sticking penalty on Barzal. So another Islanders power play, their third of the game. And for the third time in this game, the Islanders get their third power play goal. As Barzal skates around with it on the right side again. We just let him do whatever he wants with the puck because, it makes total sense. And then he finds Eberle on the left on the cross-ice pass. No one was contesting this pass. Eberle delays their shot, and his snapshot goes past McAvoy trying to block it, and also past Rask. He scores. Islanders make it a 2-goal lead, 4-2. Islanders are 3 for 3 on the power play.
That can't happen. The 3 for 3 on the power play, that just cannot happen. I was looking at that, they're 2 for 2. I was like, they cannot go 3 for 3. Statistically, it's probably pretty unlikely that a team, scores 3 power play goals on 3 power plays. And that alone made me feel like, we got to kill one off, and we didn't. And that penalty was not one you can blame on the officiating at all. That was just dumb by Wagner. I don't know what he was doing. So
dumb penalty segment of the day, right?
Yep, dumb. And had he not taken it, it could be a whole different series, whole different game. And he did it, and the result is a 3-2 lead for the Islanders.
And they were just godlike on the power play last night. It was just crazy. And this one, I mean, if you think the Bruins are snake bitten in this series, this power play just signifies that all in one. This is the epitome of snake bitten, what I'm about to say. Tenorti's stick broke on this one, and then Coyle gave him his stick. So Charlie didn't have one, and that's just bad luck. And then no one is able to contest that cross-ice pass from Barzal to Eberle. And Jordan Eberle, this was his first goal since Game 5 of their last playoff series. So if you want to talk about bad luck, of all guys, we've heard the Barzals, you've heard the Palmieris. It seems like they're the only two people scoring. Now you got people named Jordan Eberle putting pucks in the net.
It's not good. Honestly, Jordan Eberle is probably their second best offensive player, just from skill. Just So that's not a guy you want to see on the score sheet. You don't want him getting going. And yeah, it's just tough to
Broken
see.
stick. I
And
mean,
yeah, that broken stick was tough too. And I mean, my dad always says, like, you're doing no good out there at the broken stick. Like, well, I wonder why they don't just skate to the bench and then get a stick and skate right back. And I mean, I don't know how I feel about that, but it is interesting to think about because you're really playing basically 5-on-3 anyways. So why not just run to the bench, get a stick, and come back?
I would agree with that if it's even strength. So I would rather be 5-on-4 than 5-on-3. When you're on the PK already, maybe just tough it out because
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it either,
right.
but I can see definitely where he's coming from.
Maybe just like charge at one of the players and try and tackle him or something. I mean,
Yeah.
take another penalty. Although you're on the 5-on-3 after that, so
maybe just letting it go so you're back to even strength.
yeah. I mean, good thing Bruce isn't watching because he'd eat that up if he was.
Don't want to give him any ideas.
God. Oh God! But the Islanders are 3 for 3 on the power play. You have a broken stick. Are the sticks between the forwards and the defensemen the same length usually?
It's really just dependent on the player's height, not the position. So
like Chara and Krejci have the same length stick, right?
No, but yeah, I mean, they always do that. They give the stick to the defenseman. I mean, I can see why. That's probably who you want with the stick if you had the choice between a forward and a defenseman. Yeah, but like sometimes you're giving a righty stick to a lefty, and a stick that's way too tall to a short guy. But do what you got to do in that situation.
I mean, obviously it wasn't the result we wanted, but do you blame Coyle for giving up his stick there? Or
no, you just always see that, and I mean, I see why. I mean, I guess you'd rather have the defenseman with it, but it's just a lose no matter what happens because either way, someone's going to be without a stick.
Do you like the rules where? And I might have misunderstood this, but on the broadcast last night, they were saying if you don't have a stick, you can't make a play on the puck. So does that mean like if you don't have a stick, can you can't touch the puck with your hand or anything? Because that's what the announcers made it seem like, and I feel like I've seen people do that before.
Yeah, I feel like you can. Maybe they just meant like you can't make a play on the puck because you don't have not necessarily that it's not allowed, but like you can't really play the puck because you don't have a stick. Like you have nothing to play it with. But
okay,
yeah, gotcha. Maybe that's what they meant because I'm pretty sure you can just dive at it and swat it with your hand. But if you do that and you miss, you're way out of position. So
right. Yeah, I mean, just an unlucky play though. And I mean, this is maybe one of them where Rask could have made a save on it. I feel like there was enough time for him to recover because Eberle, like Pastrnak's done, delayed his shot on this one. And I thought Rask could have gotten over, but this one went right past him. So just a tough one.
Yeah, it is tough.
And yeah, so Bruins heading into the third period down 4-2. And do you want to explain the switch that the Bruins made to begin the third period?
So I didn't. My dad was saying they should put in Swayman, and I didn't think so. But yeah, so going into the third period, we had Swayman between the pipes, which I mean I don't really know why. It's not. I mean, I guess maybe guys try to play better because they don't want the rusty goalie getting shots. Maybe they use that as motivation. Just keep it down the other team's end because we don't want this goalie seeing pucks, and also giving Rask a break. But I mean, what's 20 minutes? I don't know. I don't know how much a 20-minute break is going to benefit Rask. But then again, maybe he is injured, so I don't know. So yeah, we started the third period with Swayman.
So Swayman gets the nod for the end of the game, as you just said. And Bruce Cassidy said after the game the reason they pulled Rask out was because of maintenance, which I thought was a weird word to use, but you understand that's like, okay,
yeah,
let's just, take him out. Obviously, he's not 100%. He didn't look like himself tonight. Let's see what this kid can do.
He let up one goal on 3 shots.
Were you surprised that this happened? Because I was too, and I don't think I would have made this decision if I was in Bruce's shoes. Because Rask let in 4 goals on 16 shots, but as we've been talking about for this whole recap so far, it's hard to blame. You can make a case that all of them weren't really his fault. A couple of them, maybe he could have made a play on it, but it's just more so you're blaming Rask for the reason of the lack of depth on defense. And then sucking.
Yeah. I mean, they're like just good opportunities from good spots. And sure, you can argue, Rask can make it'd have to be a big save, but he can make it. But, you're not going to get those every time. And he's not if the chances are that high quality, you can't blame Rask entirely. So I was surprised too. I didn't expect to see Swayman out there, but it didn't have the biggest impact on the game, even though he let in a goal. But I don't know. It didn't seem necessary, really.
I thought it was more so, Bruce letting the team know, like, okay, guys, things have gone this bad. Like, now we're resorting to the nuclear option. Swayman, you're in, because obviously the Islanders just did this with Sorokin earlier in the playoffs, but you got to have a lot of balls to put in a rookie in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if he just is like, okay, the odds of us coming back aren't great anyways. Let's just give Rask rest. But yeah, you do gotta. I don't know. Then he should have just given Rask a forward stick and say, Rask, why don't you take a shift on offense, buddy? But
right, I'm glad. I like the way the team responded. It didn't change the final result, but
we were playing with that kind of intensity all night, so I don't really know that put.
Yeah, Rask is the problem.
Yeah, I know. We dominated the whole game. I don't know if we were. Yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting move. I don't hate it, but I just didn't think it needed to happen.
Yeah, maybe if you want to make a switch up the defensive pairings, which Joe, who watches this, shout out to him, great supporter of the show. He texted me before the game that Bruce said in the pregame press conference that he would consider switching up defensive combinations mid-game if he didn't like what he saw. If you want to change, just do that.
Yeah. Shout out Joe. Him and Bruce Cassidy are our only two listeners. So.
And Sean.
Yes.
Wait. Sean's Bruce.
Okay. Sean, have you? Well, I've seen Sean and Bruce Cassidy in the same room at the same time.
That's
so
right.
Maybe they're not the same person.
He needs to call Bruce because he got that photo with him a couple years ago at that Fan Fest thing. So they're buddies. So Sean, if you're listening at whatever point, just give him a call because we need the Bruins to wake up.
And also, we'd love to have him on In Depth with David.
Oh, if we make it to the cup finals, he'll be on it.
Bruce Cassidy. We want him on.
Yeah, we'll get him on right after the game tomorrow, regardless of how it goes. So after that, though, Swayman comes in, and Eberle slashed Clifton in the second period. So the Bruins had a power play that carried into the third. McAvoy and Pasta had nice wristers on that same little sequence, but they were both stopped by Varlamov. So after that, the Islanders are able to successfully kill off the power play. Excuse me. And Jordan Eberle comes straight out of the penalty box. He has a breakaway on Swayman, and Swayman stopped it. So the first shot he saw, he did a pretty good job of standing his ground in net. Didn't really move much, but he made a nice save on it.
Yeah, Swayman seems to have the same mentality as Rask, where he's calm and collected back there, which is awesome. And I hope he can, when Rask decides to move on, whenever that is, I hope Swayman is ready to take it. And I think he will be. But, you really felt like that power play was a must score for us, and we didn't. And we could have really used one.
Right. And just gutting. Everything went right for us except for our discipline. And then when we catch a break, it just, we can't do anything. It was just the story of the night, the story of the game last night. And then after that, Adam Pelech keeps the puck in the zone for the Islanders, and then Beauvillier was on the left. He got it to Brock Nelson in the center of the ice, and Brock Nelson buries a wrister past Swayman, making it 5-2 early in the third. I think, what was this, this was the third shot that Swayman saw, and it goes in. So,
but there we go, continuing with the theme, shot from the center of the ice. It's just tough, and it's too bad for Swayman. But there are times where, I think it was, I don't know if it was after or before, but you'd see the camera zoom in on Swayman, or in the corner, and Swayman just had a big smile on his face. He was just happy to be in the net, which is, that's pretty cool. But it's too bad that he, didn't save all three shots he faced.
Yeah, I like the kid, and I like him and Pasternak seem to have the same energy, where they're just super goofy and keep everything light. And we'll see what Swayman can do. We'll talk about this at the end of the podcast, but as you said, it does seem like maybe the Bruins solved a problem and trying to find an heir apparent for Rask when he hangs it up. And if what we saw from Swayman is a sign of things to come in the regular season, then I like our future goalie.
Yeah, me too. Because so many teams put together a solid roster, but you really need that number one goal if you want to make noise in playoffs. And we're lucky because we've had Rask, and let's hope Swayman can do it. Because no matter how good a team you build, you're only as good as your goalie.
So Swayman unfortunately can't save this one. As we said, it's 5-2. He came out a little too far, and they got it past him. I would say this is one Swayman probably could have had if he played a little bit differently. But as I said to you in a text, what do you expect from the kid? You just tell him, all right, this is a must-win Game 5. You're a rook. Have fun out there. No pressure. Obviously, he's going to have a little nerves, and it played out there. So, yeah, you could say this is one he should have saved. But, he's nervous out there. So
he definitely didn't expect to be getting into that game. Like, I can't even imagine you're a rookie goalie and you wake up in the morning before Game 5. You go out for the morning skate or whatever, you warm up, and then you're like ready to watch some hockey. And next thing you know, you're on the ice in your first playoff game. It's gotta hit you like a train.
And he probably had no inkling before the game or even before the playoffs started that he would have to play at all.
Yeah.
Like Bruce probably didn't even say wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Jeremy. Like, I might put you in at one point. Like, no, none of that happened. So this is definitely a shock to Swayman, but he did what we expected.
Yeah. And from what we've seen in the regular season, I mean, things look bright. Can't just base it off this one period he played in playoffs.
After that, Pelech hooks Pasta, so the Bruins get a power play. And on the power play, Bergeron from the right side gets it center to McAvoy, who finds Pasternak setting up from the left faceoff circle. And once again, his second one-timer goes in. Or it wasn't a second one-timer at the game, what am I saying? But his one-timer on this play also goes in for his second goal of the game. The Bruins get a power play goal. It's 5-3 Islanders now, so Bruins have a little bit of life. We get a power play goal, and that key word is a little.
Yeah.
Key words, a little. A little over 16 minutes to go, and, I think you summed it up well in a text you sent to me where it's kind of hard to celebrate those, as I said earlier, because it's just like, that was a layup goal. I mean, it was a wide open net. You got Pasta shooting a one-timer. I mean, it's bound to have a good chance to go in.
And we're still down by 2 in a game we've been dominating. I mean, it's just going to take some. It would go if we come out in Game 6, and lay an absolute beat down on the Islanders. That would do us some good in getting this off our conscience.
Oh, I mean, and like you said, happy recaps are undefeated, so that would be a
exactly
fun game to recap. After the Bruins score, Carson Kuhlman has an opportunity where he goes right in on Varlamov towards his pads, but he gets denied. Bless you. And I have to laugh because as soon as we try and copy the Islander strategy of just scoring right in front of the net, when we do it, it doesn't work. It's just the story of the series.
Give Varlamov a ton of credit.
Absolutely.
He kept them in it. We absolutely dominated.
We skip ahead with a little over 5 minutes to go and time running out for Boston. Krejci gets it to Craig Smith, who fires a wrister from the right side on Varlamov. Varlamov makes the save, but Krejci, sticking with it, falls up on a rebound from the right in front of the net. There's a backhander, and Krejci's backhander is initially saved by the glove of Varlamov, but it deflects off the glove and on the back part of Varlamov's pads, and it goes in the back of the net. So now it's 5-4 with 5 minutes to go. The Boston TD Garden is going cray-cray for Krejci as he scored again. And you think, okay, the Bruins are right back in it. And I got to be saying, honestly, when I saw that go in, I'm thinking, is this a repeat of what happened in 2013 against Toronto?
Yeah, it was in the very, very back of my mind. But for the most part, I was like, it's too good to be true. This isn't happening. But, we always, throughout the playoffs, we've come back from pretty big deficits, and so we're never out of it, and that's awesome. That's a great trait to have as a team. But just for me, I was like, I just don't see it. I just don't.
And I think this goal just sums up how locked in Varlamov was, because it took not one but 2 deflections for them to get another goal and make this just a bit more interesting for the Bruins. And I don't blame this one on him at all. It was just kind of a weird play, and
Yeah, he's been so
got to tip your cap to him.
Yeah.
And then, even though the Islanders do go the final 18 minutes and 1 second of this game without a credited shot on net, they end up escaping Boston with a 5-4 win, and they take a 3-2 lead in the series. So it hurts. It turns out that goal by, who was it at the beginning of the period? Beauvillier or Brock Nelson. The goal by Brock Nelson at the beginning of the third period turned out to be the game-winning one.
Yep, and the Islanders, that Krejci goal seemed to wake the Islanders up a bit because after he scored, they didn't give us too much. We didn't have all that many good opportunities, and they shut us down pretty good once they really, really needed to. So we, play an unreal game and we lose, like he's just said. It's tough and it hurt.
And yeah, that third period was phenomenal and trying to storm back with a huge rally. And then, as you said, the final 5-4, 3 minutes. I mean, Islanders just did a great job of shutting us down. I think you summed it up well in saying that woke them up, that Krejci goal. And we did well with Swayman. I mean, I would have been more nervous if he had to face more shots on net, but we did a good job of keeping his workload pretty minimal.
You can't complain about a period where the other team has 3 shots. That is absurd.
And that's why it's a daunting task to be down 3-2, but I'm a little bit more confident in the Bruins being able to tie the series based on what I saw in that final part of the game, if we can carry it over. There's no chance they repeat that effort where you go 18 minutes without giving the Islanders a shot.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. And granted, it's kind of like an equivalent of garbage time in like football or basketball where,
your only objective at that point, just run the clock.
Right. It's like you're not actively trying to score or whatever. It's just more so trying to get to the end of the game, and the game's pretty much unlocked. But I think we can take some positives out of this game for sure. I mean, we put together a complete effort. It's just this is the game where, if we haven't woke up to this whole nightmare of taking bad penalties, I don't know what's going to wake us up because this game was just a slap in the face. I think they went 3 for 4, 3 for 5 at the end of the day on the power play. And, you can't allow 3 power play goals and expect to win. That's just unacceptable.
No. And then, I mean, we laid it all out there. And I mean, let's just hope that we can, let's hope we can replicate that because that looked like our game. We were winning that game and we lost. And let's just hope we can somehow find a way to recreate that same mentality in game 6 because you could just tell the way we were playing from the moment the puck dropped in the first period, we were winning that game, but it just didn't happen.
Would you say a team's game plan changes from game to game in terms of like a playoff series? Like, do you think the Bruins change their game plan from game to game?
Yeah, I think so. And especially when you're playing a coach like Barry Trotz, where he has like a certain system where, if you figure that out and you find flaws in it, you can, make adjustments based on the game to try and expose the flaws that you've picked up along the course of the series. And I think we probably did that tonight because we looked outstanding. Or last night. We looked real good. So hopefully we can do whatever we did last night in game 6 and just have a better result.
I'm with you. I think if you're Bruce Cassidy, you just tell the guys, like, let's just run it back with the same game plan. Just don't be idiots. Yep. It's that simple.
Yeah, if we do that and we take, if we take like even 1 or 2 less penalties, it's a whole different game. It's just that was our game to lose and we lost.
And this is just such a weird. It's a great series if you're a hockey fan. I see people in the NHL community saying this is one of the better series they've seen in years. But this series has been so weird in the sense that games 2 through 5, you can make a case for either team winning all those games or either team losing all those games. And I mean, it's an even-keeled series for sure.
Yeah. It's tough. It's just I envy people who get to watch this series with no bias. You're not really rooting for any team. You just want to see some good hockey, and that's all you're getting. But as a fan of the team, it can be hard to watch sometimes.
So as we said, the Islanders go up they win 5-4 in the Garden, take a 3-2 lead in the series back to the Coliseum for Game 6. Rask had 12 saves on 16 shots. Swayman had 2 saves on 3 shots. And Varlamov, the star of the night, had 40 saves on 44 shots. Which brings me to the question of the podcast. Do we start Swayman or Rask in Game 6? And I will add a little backstory to this. Rask is obviously, as we know, dealing with some injuries. Bruce Cassidy didn't seem too confident in him post-game. He was saying, he kept on like stuttering. He was like, whenever talking about Rask, he's like, we kept him out for maintenance. I assume he'll be ready for Game 6, but it seemed like he was kind of leaving the door open to see if Swayman would get the start. So I'm asking you, Brian, who do you think we should start in Game 6 after?
I think we should start Rask. I mean, he's looked great the whole playoffs up until this game, even though, those goals he let in were on good chances. So it's not entirely his fault, but I get where Bruce is coming from because, those aren't good numbers to only have 12 saves on 16 shots, but you got to go with the guy that got you this far. And I think they should go with Rask personally. And I'd be surprised to see Swayman.
I don't think they'll go with Swayman. I don't think they have the kahunas to do that, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. But I mean, if we put last night's effort into Game 6, it shouldn't matter who's in that. We should win that game. That's how well we played. We just can't take the dumb penalties.
The thing that scares me with Rask, and I said this earlier, is, and I'm leaning towards keeping it in net for Game 6, but I keep going back and forth on it because with Rask, as we've said, people want to. He's one of the biggest punching bags in Boston because he hasn't been able to close it out and win a Stanley Cup with himself in net. Because obviously Thomas was in the net when he was on the team in 2011, but he's gotten us to the Cup twice. Yes, we know about the breakdowns in those 2 games. I'm not going to mention anything else about that because I don't want to talk about it. He's a Vezina Trophy winner. I'm sure he's been a finalist other times too.
Yeah.
You stick with that. Even though he's at 80% and he's dealing with some nagging injuries, you stick with that, I think.
Yeah, and you got to think that he has, drive like nothing else to get that Stanley Cup. He wants that just as bad as anyone else.
This is as locked in as he's been. This isn't the Tuukka Rask last year, which I'm not going to comment on why he let the bubble, but you could tell his head wasn't there once the season resumed. Yeah. And I think you take an 80% healthy Rask over an 100% healthy Swayman, who we only saw in a sample size in 10 games in the regular season. Yeah. And even if you take stock in the regular season where he went 7-3, I have his stats right here, 7-3, 1.5 goals against average, and did have 2 shutouts, but any sports fan can tell you the playoffs are different than the regular season.
Yeah, and that's nothing against Swayman. It's just, a testament to how highly, we think of Rask. Really, I think, he's just going to be as driven as anyone else. He wants this cup as bad as anyone else on the team.
The thing that keeps scaring the heck out of me about Rask, though, and this is what really made me raise my eyebrows watching the game last night, and I said this earlier, is almost every goal, but probably 2 or 3 scored by the Islanders in the series has been from up front. And I just get nervous to the point where when the Islanders have a good chance in front, no matter what happens, there's no chance it's going to go in. And I feel like Swayman gives you a better chance at stopping those pucks, but Swayman can't make all the saves that Rask makes, if that makes sense. Everything.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And just to pile on, those front of the net opportunities, we're really missing Carlo and Miller right now. It's tough. It's really too bad.
And they'll also, so that was the next thing I was going to say, Carlo, Miller, and Lazar will all be out for Game 6. Just, as you said, not household names, but just tough blows, because this just hurts our depth.
Yeah, if you're a Bruins fan, you don't want any single one of those 3 guys to be out. So it's tough to see.
So going back to my first question, though, I think they'll start Rask. It is a little weird how they're not already confirming his availability for Game 6. They're waiting until tomorrow to determine if he'll be ready. And when do you pull a goalie like that? I mean, it seems like you're leaving the door open for maybe a goalie change, which is weird.
Yeah, it was a weird thing to see. Weird situation with the goalie change start of the period or whatever.
Do you think that was an audition by Bruce for Swayman to like maybe if he actually had more chances to save, if he does well, like maybe Bruce says, "Huh, okay, maybe I'll give this kid a start."
That's a great point. I didn't even think of that, but I mean, definitely could have been. I could see that if the Islanders carry the play in the third and Swayman shuts the door. I could then there. I think there'd probably be a much bigger case to start Swayman in Game 6 than there is currently.
So I'm all I'm with you though. I think Russ will get the start, and I think you got to go with Mr. Reliable in that. Couple more housekeeping items. Bruce Cassidy got fined $25,000 a day for criticizing the officiating, and Nick Ritchie also got fined $5,000 for elbowing Scott Mayfield. I missed this play.
Oh, I don't. I think that was a deserved. Fine in my opinion. So Scott Mayfield was on his knees on the ice, and you couldn't really tell what happened in fast motion, but Ritchie skated by him and just elbowed him right in the head, and Mayfield was on his knees. It was such a. I don't think they called it a penalty because it was tough to see it in fast motion. You couldn't really tell what happened, but it was just such an unnecessary play, and it definitely warranted a fine in my opinion. I won't complain about that.
And then going back to the Bruce Cassidy thing, I get where he's coming from with the officiating, but I thought it was a little weird. He called them the New York Saints, and Barry Trotz actually kind of destroyed Cassidy in the postgame because they asked him what he thought of Cassidy's comments, and he said, the Islanders have committed half as many penalties the Bruins have this season, so Cassidy was just kind of, I think he was more so just emotional more than anything in the postgame press. And he wouldn't be saying that if we won. If we won, he could care less about the officiating for the game. So in a weird way, maybe I'm not going to say it's good we lost, but this better be a wake-up call for Bruce. Like, you better be throwing sticks in the locker room and yelling at these guys. Like, come on. Like, let's not be on the PK as much.
I know. And yeah, we talked about it before, and just all playoffs, it's been a problem. And before playoffs, it was a problem. And yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I don't know why we take so many penalties. I don't get it. And yeah.
And I get where Bruce is coming from somewhat with this comment, saying that the Islanders commit similar infractions, but they don't get called for it. That was evident in the game last night. We obviously saw the little tangle of Krejci and Barzal, I think in Game 4, where they were slashing each other. And granted, Krejci kind of hit him with a hard slash, but they were both, jousting each other before that. So I get that. I just think it was more so Bruce being mad in the moment. And you can make the argument some things were weak, but as you said, I think you summed it up. Like, you got to have short-term vision on those PK opportunities because, yeah, you committed the penalty, but there's still 2 minutes you have to kill off. Like, it's all over. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah, once the penalty's called, it's up to you now to kill it off, whether or not you like the call or not.
So I don't blame Bruce for doing that. I thought, 25,000. I mean, that's probably like pennies on the dollar to him. I don't know how much he makes as a coach,
Yeah,
but
that's probably a decent amount. I like Bruce though. Overall, like so far, his body of work, like we've been to cups and one cup, but deep playoff runs and all that since he took over, and it's nice to see.
Right, and I mean, I think the players respect him too, which is a big thing.
For sure. And coaches, it seems like now for some reason more than ever, they have a really short shelf life these days, and they wear out on guys. And so far, I don't really see any signs of that with Bruce. So
I thought it was funny how in his rant about the officiating, he said the refs are great guys and he knows them, but they need to be better. So he gave him a little compliment, I guess. But what can you do about that stuff? And then the final topic we'll be discussing is what you talked about a little earlier is Barry Trotz calling out Bergeron. And I have the quote right here from Barry Trotz. He's claiming that Bergeron cheats on the faceoffs. He says, and I quote, "Bergie's a really good faceoff guy, one of the best. I think Islanders centers all study what he does. The biggest thing with Bergie, and really linesmen can control this, is he doesn't like to get his stick down. He's got to come to a stop, and then you have a fair fight. He's a veteran guy who knows how to cheat on the faceoffs. I'm relying on our very capable officiating crew and linesmen to make sure the cheating doesn't go on because he's good at it. All the veteran guys are. He's not the only one, trust me. But he's very good. He's very capable, and he's been a top centerman and faceoff guy for a long time." End quote.
That's tough. Just discredits him. Like, I don't know. Yeah, your top in that league in face-off percentage every single season, and it's because you cheat like that. And I personally, I don't really understand the face-off rules because when I played, like they didn't do that. I don't know when that starts getting implemented, but I don't really understand. Like you see, Krejci gets kicked out of faceoffs constantly. I don't know. He like never. I feel like his wingers end up taking more faceoffs than he does some games, just because whatever formality they have to go through before the ref drops the puck. So yeah, and same with Bergeron. He gets tossed a fair amount too. So it's weird.
How do you cheat on a? Like, I don't get that wording. How do you cheat on a face-off? Like. You work over the officiating. That's part of sports.
There's some like rule, depending on if you're home or away. I think someone gets to put their stick on the ice first. I don't understand it. I never was not implemented at the level I played at, so I really don't know. I don't know to this day what it is, but if Barry Trotz feels like Bergeron's cheating on every faceoff, I mean, that I'm sorry he feels that way.
Right. And how do you cheat? Like, I don't just get this either. Yeah, he's cheating on a 50-50 play. You either win the face-off or you don't.
Does he just look at his like 3% or whatever it is, like face-off percentage, and he's just like, this is just too high. Like, he's got to be cheating. I don't know. I don't get it.
And I read a stat somewhere where Bergeron's face-off percentage in the series against the Islanders before last game, it's not even that good. It's not even that good. So even if he's trying to cheat, it's not working.
And then I think Bergeron responded to that. He said, well, I don't have the exact quote, but I have like basically he was like, well, I think it's a veteran move by Barry Trotz to, draw the officials' attention to what I'm doing. So, I mean, whatever.
And someone complained, they said this on Boston radio today. I forget what team it was, but one team's coach complained about the officiating. And the very next game, their team got 5 power plays out of it. So maybe it has some weight with the officials. I hope not. Watch Bergeron get kicked out of like 10 faceoffs next game. But, you love to see a little tension in playoff hockey and coach versus player interactions.
Yeah. And Davey, just after game 6, we could be doing our last recap. I don't even want to think about it.
Oh, no bad mojo. We're going to win game 6. We're going to do it. Which perfect segue into this last topic. What are your predictions for how game 6 is going to go for the Bruins?
I'll give us a 4-2 win.
That's the same exact score. I'm not even joking. Like that's the same exact score I predicted.
All right. I think last time, maybe not. I don't know. I feel like we had the same prediction one game and it happened, but I'm not positive.
I think So the theme is the person who misses the empty net scores the first goal in the next game. Pasta did it. He scored first goal in game 5. I think Marchand, who did it in game 5, will score the first goal in game 6. I think we'll go up 2-0. Then they'll grab a goal to make it 2-1. And then we'll go up 4-1 after Bergeron and maybe like Nick Ritchie or Coyle score a goal. They'll get a goal late, but it'll be too little too late. I think the Bruins are going to win 4-2 to even the series at 3 games apiece and take it back to the Garden for game 7.
Yeah, let's hope so, because we know the Coliseum is going to be absolutely rocking.
That's another added element.
They're going to be going crazy. And also,
what's up?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's another element, too, because if Cassidy shocks us all and puts Swayman in net, have fun dealing with the Coliseum. Your first playoff start. You get to deal with all these fans.
Swayman.
Right.
But I don't know. I think Hall needs to get going. I don't know. Last 2-3 games, I haven't noticed him all that much. I know in game 1 or game 2, maybe the first 2 games both, he was just putting a ton of shots on. He looked good, but haven't noticed him too much recently. We need him to really carry the depth scoring. That's why we picked him up, and haven't seen him too much out there. Last few games. So hopefully he gets on the board and gets going.
Right. I mean, I think both the first 2 lines had 2-on-1s at one point in the game. I think it was both actually in the third period, and I think Hall, it was both Krejci and Bergeron who tried to pass it when they easily just could have shot it, but they were trying to get too fancy and just cost us. You don't want to think too much when you're down because that's the last thing you want to do. You just want to put pucks in the back of the net. But it's going to be an interesting game tomorrow. Must win for the Bruins. No other option. Season's over.
Win or go home. Winning. God, I don't want to see. I don't know. I
need to keep growing out this facial hair. I'm not done yet. We got to focus on these on these next 60 minutes of hockey. That's all that's the focus. So
Uh, I won't say it. I won't say it. I was just gonna infect the recap with more bad vibes than it already had.
positive
So
vibes.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
Positive
More
vibes for the Bruins. I would spin around. I'm wearing a Bergeron shirt. It's just for good luck. I said once the Bruins scored a goal in the third last night, I put on the jersey, and then I started doing more superstitious stuff. This is as superstitious as it gets. I brought out the Bruins jersey for the recap.
And you've been wearing that Bruins jersey ever since you slept in and everything.
Oh, of course. I'll wear it to work tomorrow. And I just got to keep it on for the good luck. But yeah, go Bruins. Hopefully they win Game 6. And this has just been a fun series. And I don't want it to be us being on the receiving end of the pain that comes from whoever loses this series.
I don't. All right, I'll say it. Just could you imagine doing a recap after a Game 6 loss? That would just the vibes would be at an all-time low.
I don't even want to think about that.
No, I shouldn't have said it.
No. I mean, hey, at least we got to acknowledge
it's gonna be brutal if it happens.
But good luck, Bruins. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I hope we come out and do well in Game 6, and I still have faith. A lot of people are already writing us off, but I know we can do it. It's going to be tough, but I know we can do it.
Two games left. We got to win them both.
120 minutes to glory. Let's focus on the first 60, though. Alrighty, everyone. That is going to do it for this recap. We recapped the Bruins Game 5 against the Islanders. As much as we didn't want to do it, we got through it in an hour. I want to remind everyone to hit that like button and absorb that subscribe button. We will have more Bruins recaps coming, more Celtics recaps or off-season preview coming at some point. Red Sox recaps will be coming back soon. Patriots recaps will be coming once the season starts. And I will be doing Survivor and Big Brother show recaps once those come back in the fall and summer. And I will also be doing personal interviews every now and then. So me and my friend Andrew from college will just be interviewing people and trying to get to know them as on a personal level. So look forward to all these new series on In Depth with David as the summer progresses. And let me just remind everyone to let us know in the comment section below what you like, what you don't like, what you like about us, what you don't like about us. I want to thank everyone for watching, everyone who tuned in. We love you guys. Thank you, Bryan, again for doing this with me. And we will be talking to you guys after Game 6. Take it easy. Have a good one.